Hi everybody, Kim here at Olive City Homestead, and it is the day after the American Thanksgiving, the very end of November, and I'm here with an end of November garden tour. Now I've shot this video throughout the week, over the course of 4 or 5 days whenever I've had a free moment, because I have been super busy this week. I have been preserving. I have been doing all kinds of new and fun stuff, as well as some old favorites, and I've been having a blast. And throughout this video you'll hear me mention things I might do or things I have just done with, say, green tomatoes or other fruits and veggies I'm finding in the garden still. And I actually, throughout this past week, have also been shooting video of some of the things I've been making, so I'll be putting those videos up really soon too. Now, something else I touch on that's really fun in this video are my strawberry trees. Now, I've done a video or two in the past about my strawberry trees and some of the really interesting and healthy things you can do with them, but I thought I'd give an update because they are growing. They're a slow growing tree, but they are growing and they're looking beautiful. This is the most pretty time of year probably for strawberry trees, as you will see if you stick around. So without further ado, why don't we get on with this garden tour? Let's go see what's still growing here in this crazy cool weather, which has been up and down, up and down. Today it's in the mid 60s Fahrenheit, but we've had several nights already where we've had frost, as some of my plants definitely show. Still, there is always something that you can glean from your garden, whether it's just knowledge or actual produce. So that's what I'm going to show you today, some of the things that I found in my garden this week, the last week of November. The frost finally hit, and that's what my squash plants, which I had been leaving growing despite it being mid-November because I have squash coming on, and I wanted to give it, you know, the best chance to ripen. I knew I wasn't going to get any more because it is going to get cold. Well, it's gotten cold. It wasn't supposed to freeze last night, but it did get below, just below 32, and so that's what they look like. Time to get all the squash plants out, and we'll just hope that the squash are far enough along that they can continue to ripen wherever I end up putting them. We shall see. Well, I thought I'd spend just, a few minutes cutting off the squash, but there is so much. This is just a few of them, and there's a lot more. Plus, I got sidetracked with tearing out my cherry tomatoes, except then I found a whole bunch that were usable and ripe red, and a whole bunch that were green that I think I'm going to try some kind of chutney or salsa with. I even have some tomatillos that volunteered and are kind of sprawled out on the ground, and I've done nothing with them all year, but I think I'm going to harvest them now. Look at all this volunteer borage. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do something with it. Here it is where it started on the edge of this bed and blooming so pretty, next to some society garlic that I need to prune back. And look at this. Do you see that? Huge zucchini in there. Yes, it did get damaged. You can see the leaf curl on the edges, but these didn't completely go over with the frost. So I'm going to take that big one off. I think there might be another smaller one in there. And hey, just going to leave it. I know it might get, wasted tonight or tomorrow night, but it might go another week or so. Anyway, this borage volunteering everywhere, it's so pretty. So good for the soil. Borage is so healthy for you too, and all of these little volunteers, well, that's the perfect size leaf to snip off and put in salad. It tastes like cucumber when it's that tiny, and it's not all prickly like it gets as the leaves get bigger and more mature. I have a lot of work left to do, and I've got piles everywhere, but it's starting to look a little better. Big pile of wasted okra, and other greens that I will chop and drop. And this bed is starting to look like there's something still growing. You can actually see them now. That's an eggplant, which I've already gotten 2 off of this year, but it was really shaded out by the huge okra. Look at the trunk of that okra I cut down. Yeah. And then I've got these peppers that were also shaded out and knocked over, and these are What are these? I can't really remember what these are. Oh, Cubanelles. That's what they are, Cubanelles. And despite the fact that they were bent over, they are doing great. Well, I'm leaving this watermelon. It's about 14 inches long and about 5 inches across. But the little curlicues near the top of the vine are definitely still green, so I'm gonna give it as much time as I can. I'll just keep an eye on the weather forecast. Same with this pumpkin. It's ripening up, but it still has a ways to go. And I know it'll continue ripening off the vine, but I'd like to leave it as long as possible, and it's still looking really healthy. But yeah, I'm getting off most of them. I'll do a final count at the end and see what I actually got from this last harvest, or almost last harvest, I guess. Anyone know what this is? This squash. It's got these bumpy yellow things on it. I don't even remember planting this. I don't know what it is. I got 2 of them. That one and this one. This little tag here doesn't help me at all because the words have faded off. Yeah, I have yet to find a system that works for tags, but I'm still trying. That trellis there did hold my massive Armenian cucumbers, which I finally took down and gave the last of to the chickens today. This bed is just this mass of Roma tomatoes, which there are hundreds of green ones on it right now. I think what I'm probably going to do in a couple of days when I have the time to process them is get them all off and make something interesting with all of these. I've never worked with green tomatoes before, so this is going to be a first for me, but I'm looking forward to it. So that looks just like a bunch of weeds, right? And it is in the middle of my pathway, but actually it's tomatillas. And tomatillas are in these little husks, and as they get bigger and riper, they finally will fall to the ground, which says, okay, we're ready now for you. But they stay good for a long, long time. So I'm going to pick up all the ones off the ground. There are a lot of them. This is oregano volunteering. I should probably pull up all my volunteer oregano plants. There are so many. They do have a beautiful purple flower, and the bees love them and I love them. They smell so good. That, I believe, is chamomile. I got it everywhere, but not as much as I have volunteer alyssum and volunteer oregano. Look at all that oregano. I need to get it off and dry it. Look at the flowers. Oh, it smells so good. And yes, more alyssum. This is all in my pathway. My pathway right now does not look like a pathway. It has a bunch of dead stuff I've pulled out that the frost got. It has volunteer borage, volunteer ruby red lettuce, and more. There's lots. There's some squash or melon vines I pulled up this morning. Those were totally devastated by the frost last night. Yeah, but the borage doesn't mind the cool weather at all, guys. Neither do the gazanias as of yet. Again, this is a volunteer. I'm gonna have to dig some of these things up and move them. Borage, that's a little trickier because of the deep taproot. My lime tree is turning yellow at the same time that it's trying to send out buds for new limes, and so really this needs to come out of this pot. It's not getting enough nutrition. It's outgrown this pot. Its roots probably want to spread out, so that's a task I have. And then my loquat tree has just really grown a lot this year. It was just a little stick that I saved last year, and now it's really filled out and doing well. Probably need to pot that up. More volunteer gazanias. More gazanias. And more. Oh, look, a little baby one. More oregano mixed in with some purple alyssum. All of this needs to be cut back. I have so much work to do, but you know what? I've been out here for a few hours working right now, and it's just been lovely. It's about 60 degrees, 10:30 in the morning. If it was like this every day for a week or two, I could get everything done. Well, most of this pepper plant died off. There's barely any part of it left, but there are 2 peppers on it. Oh wait, actually there's a third little one there. Now these are, I believe, jalapeno, and I may use one of them in what I'm making today, which is a green tomato salsa. And that is the last of the Jimmy Nardellos. Definitely going to use that in something fresh. Well, I'm kind of surprised that the pepper plants lasted this long. We've had now 3 nights that have gone down to 32. Not in a row. They've been spaced apart by about a week of nicer weather in the 60s during the day and only down in the 40s at night. But yes, a few of the plants, interestingly, a few of the smaller plants that before had been sheltered by hugely overgrowing okra plants. Once I cut away the okra, the smaller pepper plants said, "Oh, hi, here, we're going to give you a few peppers before the frost kills us." So these beauties are blot peppers, and they're nice, mild flavor, which is how I want to make this salsa I'm making, this green tomato salsa. I have so many green tomatoes, I have to use them for more than just the green tomato chutney I've made. Oh, and look at these. Pretty Buena Mulata peppers. At least I'm pretty sure that's what they are. I will look it up, but I just love, I don't know if you can tell in the sunlight, but this purple color. Definitely going to be adding some of those to the salsa. Just take a look at these really pretty tequila sunrise peppers. I can't cook those. I'm going to chop those up and maybe use them in a fresh pico de gallo. That sounds like a good plan to me. Oh, a shishito. A couple of them there. Look at all that volunteer lettuce. I need to transplant some of it, but maybe I'll just use it all in a salad this week because I have a lot more of this volunteering all over the place. Strawberry tree is in bloom, my Arbutus marina. I'm going to be putting out a video, an update video on that soon. And I'm very pleased with how my 2 strawberry trees are growing, are filling out, and are producing. Wonderful tea, great fruit for jams and smoothies. And yeah, right now, loving this Arbutus marina. In November and December, it blooms like crazy. And aren't those pretty chandelier blooms? The purple tree kale is loving this cooler weather. It's about 6-7 feet high now and really starting to green up, or purple up, I should say. Just take a look at these gorgeous big leaves. They're so good, sweet, and as it gets cooler, they just get sweeter. The pineapple sage will keep growing all year round, and it's loving the November temperatures. The hummingbirds are loving it too. I've been watching the hummingbirds come to this plant, and the others I have like it growing throughout the garden. They've been coming to it all day as I've been working out here, making their little clicking noises. I was hoping to catch one on camera for you, but every time I start taping, they fly away, of course. Here's one of several young olive trees I have growing in pots. I dug them up from seedlings that had volunteered all around the property. That's what happens when you have a a 100-year-old 100 tree olive orchard. You get new olive trees coming up, and so I've dug up some of them and potted them up, because if I do move from here, I want to take some olive trees with me. How else will I be Olive City Homestead? Not to mention the wonderful tea that olive leaves make. So healthy for you. The cherry tomato plants may look quite a bit the worse for wear. However, as you can see, there are still a ton of tomatoes. These sun golds are trying to ripen still, and sometimes they do, and they're so good. But also, what I have discovered in the last few weeks is the absolute amazing things you can do with green tomatoes. Not just big green tomatoes, but cherry green tomatoes. Now, you might not realize this, but this mass of plants, which I think was 3 or 4 cherry tomato plants here, has grown so big. There are so many tomatoes in here. And in the past, when fall would hit, most of these would just get wasted. All the green ones, certainly. But now I have things I can do with them. And I do a lot with them now. Salsa, pico de gallo, chutney, even some green apple pie. I've been told most people can't even tell the difference between the mock apple pie you make with these and, a regular apple pie. But we shall see when I test it out on people at Christmas. And we'll also see, I guess, which of my children actually watch my videos, because they'll know that the pie is fake. No, I'll have to make a regular apple pie too. That way, they won't know which is which. Hi, ladies. What's up? Oh, I know what you want. Past the savory, over to the sorrel. The ladies want some sorrel. They absolutely love sorrel leaves. I love growing plants right next to where I have my animals. And I can't say I did that on purpose with the chickens. I mean, I grew the herb bed here on purpose, but not for the chickens. But it's come in very handy. So once I realized that, I definitely did do that with my ducks. So I have all kinds of dinosaur kale and dazzling blue kale and purple tree collards and such over by the ducks. Their favorite is dinosaur kale. But the chicken's favorite definitely is sorrel. Where are you going, Missy? You gonna go lay me an egg? That would be nice. Moms are past their prime, but boy, snapdragons definitely don't mind cool weather. They bloom year-round, in fact. All summer long they've been blooming. And here on November 25th, they are still blooming away and bringing in pollinators. I don't know what you're going to pollinate, but enjoy the flowers. The gazanias and the gora plant are doing beautifully. Well, I love this purple salvia, but my poor little, I think, Barbados cherry tree, believe that's what that one is, it's feeling the crowdedness, so I'm going to have to get that salvia out of there. Likewise, my experiment with my, what I call tiger lilies, but my orange canna lilies, they did fabulous in this spot, but then they were overwhelmed by these humongous cherry tomatoes. But these plants, they just grew up. I mean, the size of some of the leaves in here are huge, and they blossomed incredibly, both the ones over here that were away from the tomatoes and even these within the tomatoes blossomed. So now I know they like this spot in the garden where they get sun most of the day, but from 3 p.m. on, they're in the shade. I'm definitely going to spread them out. They're a little too crowded where they are, but keep them in this bed and not plant cherry tomatoes with them next year because I would like them to be free to bloom at will and grow at will and not be overwhelmed by those cherry tomatoes. But live and learn, right? That's the only way you figure things out, is just to try it. Some of the work I did today, putting tons of cuttings from the garden over there. That's my lazy compost pile. My regular compost pile, which is pretty much just as lazy and works great, is completely full. So I've started this new one and it's in an out of the way area, so that'll be fine. Take a look at this honeysuckle. Do you see what I see? Yeah, beautiful blooms. Got two different ones here. I've got this one and then the orange and pink one. Yeah, this plant, or rather these two plants, they actually struggled all summer with staying alive, really. And leaves that were yellow and burning, no matter the fact that they're in shade from about 1 p.m. on. But that morning sun was just so strong, and even when in the shade, the heat here was so intense, they just did not perform well. But now, now that it's in the 40s at night, even down in the 30s, and now that it's only in the 60s during the day, well, now they're loving life. So this is why they're not planted in the ground yet. They're just in small pots within a bigger crate because I just needed to see where they would grow best. And now I see that I need to move them even more west, right up against my western fence. And I do have flower beds set up against my western fence on the north side of the yard. And so I'm going to plant these on a trellis against that fence over the winter. And we'll see how they do next spring and summer. More squashes that I've harvested. And I have to say that in the week I've been making clips for this video, we have had my Thanksgiving family gathering and I used several squash for that, as well as a ton of my peppers and green onions for various chutneys and salsas that I made. And boy, it feels super good, doesn't it, when you can bring things in from your own garden and make something that your kids and your family and friends enjoy. Yes, and in addition to that big zucchini, after I took it off and cut off a ton of the leaves, I am now getting a few more zucchini. I don't think this can last much longer, but I'll take whatever last few I can get. I'll definitely be doing a lot of drying these borage leaves so that I have borage tea for myself and others for the months to come. Wow, in 1 week, this pumpkin has ripened up nicely. I'm kind of surprised at how fast it's gone and really pleased, actually, because I know the temps are just going to keep dropping. So I do want to get this and that last watermelon in the house. Here's one of the best crops I grow, and I don't even have to plant it or take care of it at all. It's right by my gate where my cars are. It is near one of my compost piles. It's just an open area of land by a couple of my beds. And it's the only area in the backyard that's not garden or Bermuda grass. It's just weed land. And you know why this is a great crop? Because my chickens devour it. Uh-oh, look what I see here. Look at this. In the midst of all these weeds. You know what that is, don't you? That's borage. It's finding its way everywhere. Good job, borage. And purple geraniums blooming very nicely. Another plant you never really need to do much with. Very tough, very gorgeous. My kind of plant, actually. Hello, calendula. You're so pretty. Quite a bit of ruby red lettuce growing outside my back door. Look at all these squash, guys. I have them everywhere, really. And I've been using them. Fortunately, almost all of them are nice, sturdy winter squash that will keep for many months, so I don't have to be in a big hurry. And we can enjoy them all winter. And look here, what have we got? Zinnias. These are, well, the remnants. I cut the last of my zinnias down today, and even though these are a bit past their prime, I thought they're good enough to bring in and enjoy in perfect fall colors for this, the end of fall.
I know that picture says that love ripens the greenest fruit, but I don't want this fruit ripened. I'm going to use it nice and green.
So thanks for hanging out with me today, everyone. I appreciate you watching my videos, and I do hope you enjoy and occasionally learn a little something, as I certainly do, every single week. I'm really enjoying this fall weather, and I am making the most of it. I am getting outside while it's nice and cool and working early in the morning, and then coming out again later in the day just to sit and enjoy, to watch the hummingbirds, to look at my ducks and chickens playing, and to look around the garden, see what's doing well at this time of year, and think about how things went this summer, what didn't do so well, and start dreaming, just a little bit about what I'm going to plant in the spring. Now, as I mentioned before, I do have several videos upcoming about things I've been making just this week with things I've taken out of the garden even after a frost has occurred. And that would be mostly green tomatoes, but also peppers and squash and green onions, kale. I found some really surprising, interesting, and delicious things that I could do with these harvests. And I still, as you saw today, have a lot of green tomatoes to take care of. I think I know what some people are going to be getting for Christmas this year. So I will see you all again next time with the videos that I have coming up soon. Until then, take care, keep growing, and remember, you can create the life that you want. So why not start right now? Have a great week, everyone.